So Manchester United pick up a much-needed victory against Chelsea, recording their first back-to-back wins at Old Trafford in the Premier League since 2023. It was a game full of bad weather. It was feisty. The players were up for it. But I'm seeing a lot of people say that Manchester United were lucky in this game, that if Chelsea had 11 players on the pitch throughout the entire match, it would have been a different story. Let's talk about it. Let me show you what I found and why I'm not so sure that would have been the case. In a game like this, where there's a lot of pressure under Ruben Amorim and Manchester United to get a result, especially at Old Trafford and against one of the better teams in the division, obviously one of the best teams in the division, I thought we played well. I thought United actually did a lot of good rather than a lot of bad. And I know people on social media and Twitter and whatever will suggest otherwise, but like I say in a lot of my videos, I really encourage you to go back and watch how the game unfolded. Actually watch and see how United were able to get into these positions, how United were able to defend well in their box. Obviously, we had a numerical advantage for the entirety of the first half. I think the first 5 minutes, we started on the front foot, but Robert Sanchez getting sent off definitely did help us and give us the advantage, not just numerically, but mentally. I feel like this was the opportunity for the players to kind of go for it, actually be more creative and more expansive, knowing that they had that advantage. Obviously, in the second half, because of Casemiro's red card at the end of the first half, it became an even game. It was 10v10 once again. But we'll get into it in due time. First thing I want to talk about is actually Amorim's pre-match selection, because a lot of people were just outraged with the fact that Lenny Yoro was dropped, but Luke Shaw retained his place. They were outraged with the fact that Harry Maguire had come into the team and Masraoui had retained his position at right wing back. But in the grand scheme of things, those players did really well. De Ligt being at the right center back was huge today. And I'm going to talk about that a little later just because of how impactful he was on both sides of the ball. Masraoui, if not for Masraoui being in the right wing back position, we're not scoring those goals today. And like I said, I'll show you in a little bit later. And I thought Maguire's physicality and just his overall experience in games like this really helped us. Chelsea's players are fragile. I feel like mentally they're a bit fragile. Technically, they're brilliant. But if you unsettle them, it kind of puts the game in your favor. And I think Maguire, and as bad as Luke Shaw was, I feel like he and Maguire had that on lock, that mental side of the game. They had completely thrown off Chelsea's better players like Enzo Fernandez, Cucurella. So I thought we did good in that regard. I'm going to show you a bunch of clips now in moments that prove that United were just better overall on the day. I know that going up a man, you should play better and are expected to play better. But let's look and not forget at a situation during, I think it was match day 2, where Liverpool against Newcastle were down to 10 men, conceded a goal, and still went on to claw their way back into the game and looked better for it. So let's not look at just, going down to 10 men means, the game is finished. You still have to play what's in front of you. And I thought Ruben Amorim and United did a good job of doing that. So let's go ahead and get into the analysis, the things that I actually saw that were good. The first few clips I'm going to show you were before Robert Sanchez's red card. So this was 11v11. This was what Manchester United were able to do in the first 5 minutes, pinning Chelsea back, being the better team, being on the front foot, being the aggressors. Manchester United's build-up in this game was impressive to me. I thought they did a good job of being tidy with possession and knowing when to release the ball and where to release the ball. At this point, De Ligt gets the ball, and Chelsea's press is a bit half-hearted. It's really doing its best to try and stop Man United from getting the ball into the midfield to Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. What I like about De Ligt is that he takes a risk. Instead of taking the safe option to Mbeumo or trying to get the ball out wide to Masraoui, he identifies Ahmad operating in kind of that half space. And as you can see, Ahmad is in a good position here. He's kind of bypassed the Chelsea's press with just one ball into his feet. And from here, in this situation, Man United do a good job of getting the ball out wide, playing into the strengths of the formation in the system. I think here Dorgu does a much better job of being direct and putting the ball into an area where we can actually question the Chelsea defense, question the back line, make them a little uncomfortable. I feel like a lot of Dorgu's deliveries this season have been underwhelming, and I think we can all say that and we can all agree to that. But in this scenario, he actually puts in a really testing ball that gets on the end of Mbeumo's head, and Sanchez is forced to make a save. So it's a good opportunity for Manchester United. These are the things that I think Amorim wants to see. Exploiting the space that is left. I don't know what this obsession is about Manchester United having to be the most compact team and not allowing teams to play their way through them. But we're doing this to teams in the top 4. We did the same thing against Manchester City, finding all this space, playing through their press. Why is it so different when we do it versus when teams do it to us? It's a bit weird and it's a bit performative, in my opinion, when people keep saying things like this, because these good moments and patterns of play just completely get bypassed when Chelsea play a couple of passes in between our midfield. It's strange, but I digress. Let's continue. Good opportunity for Manchester United there. Moving on to the next one, which was obviously the sending off for Bobby Sanchez. It's once again a good press, or kind of a half-hearted press. João Pedro's leading that press, but Chelsea aren't committing too many players forward. So Bayern does the right thing. He goes route one. He goes long. There's no point in trying to play around the back if it's a dangerous situation. What I like about Bayern is his passing quality. It's one thing to just hoof the ball forward and hope that your teammate gets on the end of it or does something with it. But Bayern passing quality is really underrated. And I know that for a goalkeeper, you want the most important thing to be his shot-stopping ability. But for him in this position, in the way that we like to build up, him going long and still being able to find an accurate pass, I think it's just the weight of the pass. It's the way that it allows Sesko to get into position. And as the ball is getting to him, Trevor Chalobah is the defender defending against Sesko. There's just a slight height difference where Sesko has the advantage. And Sesko actually jumps later than Chalobah. Chalobah's already in the air as Sesko is jumping, but because Sesko is just a physical beast and specimen, he's able to get on the end of that ball and knock it down perfectly into Mbeumo's path. And from there, the rest is history. Sanchez makes a rash decision to commit to the challenge. I think Enzo Maresca said it best in his post-match press conference that it would have just been better to let Mbeumo score and keep the 11v11 on the pitch. But for some reason, Sanchez just dives into this tackle. For a Man United perspective, I don't care. I'm happy with that. In that moment, I realized, yes, finally United can use this as a way to kickstart their season, get some momentum, get some players on the score sheet. Brilliant for Manchester United. Simple football. Sometimes that's all it takes, is that route one football, play it up to your striker, he nods it down, and we created a good opportunity from that point. Now, because of this, United were effectively able to pin Chelsea back. Maresca had kind of panicked a little bit, taking off his best attacking options to try and become more defensively sound. I think in his mind, he probably assumed that because of this, his players didn't have what it took to hold on to the lead for the entire rest of the game. I mean, at that point, when the sending off occurred, there were still 85 minutes to be played. So Man United had a great advantage here to take the game to Chelsea. And granted, they did. And it's something that I really enjoyed seeing, how forward-thinking, how positive United were in this game. Because of this shape, we were able to constantly put this pressure on Chelsea. And going into this next clip now, I like the way that we build up. Essentially, right here, you can see that we're in almost this 4-3-3 shape. But as Mazraoui gets the ball, I like the fact that as soon as he gets the ball, he takes a look to see what's happening. Šeško's already making his run. And Mbeumo fakes as if he's not going to make the run and quickly bursts into space, which is something that I like about Amorim's principles and setup. In the fact that Mbeumo in this situation, Šeško, Mazraoui, they're in positions where they're able to create from nothing. Mazraoui, as we saw against Manchester City, played a lovely ball into Šeško in behind. He does the same thing here because Mbeumo is willing to make the run, willing to get into the space that Chelsea have left. Now, I know, I'm going to keep reiterating, I know Chelsea were at a numerical disadvantage at this point. The principles still remain the same. We do this against teams when it's 11v11. I don't want people to get into this mindset that we only were able to do these things because Chelsea were down to 10 men. We've done this in every single game this season. The only problem is our end product is just not good enough. Now, for our first goal, I wanted to mention something that I don't see too many people talking about, and it's the fact that we created this goal from Chelsea's throw-in. They actually threw the ball in, and because of our high pressure and intensity, they gave the ball away. And it put them in a position where now they're on the back foot. We have the momentum. We have the ability to actually create. What I like about this play, what I love about this play, is not the fact that, yes, I love the fact that we won the ball from the throw-in. We were being aggressive. What I love about this play is the fact that Mazraoui actually plays a first-time cross into the box. Now, if that was Amad Diallo as a right wing back, you cannot sit here and tell me he's putting a first-time cross into the box with his right foot. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean later on in this video. But because of this, Mazraoui getting the ball into the box first time, it asks questions of the Chelsea's back line. It asks questions of them. They're not able to get set. They're not able to actually look for who's in an open position. And because of this, Dorgu gets into tons of space to play the ball across the box. And what I love here is Bruno Fernandes, just the anticipation, the awareness, the movement to get beyond the Chelsea back line to ask questions once again. This is what, these are basics. But because these basics can be executed so well, we get a goal from it. And it's a great finish from Bruno Fernandes. So that's, the good things that I see from Manchester United that we can continue to build upon. This result is the perfect platform to build upon because next is Brentford, and after that is Sunderland, games that we should be winning. And now here's another example where United are able to win the ball back aggressively from pressing Chelsea from their own throw-in. And as soon as we win the ball back, it's quick, one-touch, decisive football that gets us into advanced positions. Now, I wanted to bring this up because we've been able to do this in games 11v11. It doesn't matter if the other team has the numerical advantage. Go back and watch our games. All the games aside from Grimsby. Go back and watch our games. The players were actually getting into these positions because of the system, because of the understanding, because of what Amorim has implemented into them, trying to be quicker and technical and unsettle teams in a better way. A lot of the times our tempo can be a little slow, but in this game I thought we played well, especially on the counter, especially from winning the ball back and springing into life. I wanted to just point that out because I know a lot of people will say, oh, it's because Chelsea were down to 10 men. I'm telling you, this is something that United and Amorim have been attempting to do since the start of the season. Now, I don't want to just point out all the good because, as you'll see from this point on, there were situations where we could have done better. I think this really goes out to show that this is still a work in progress and that this is going to take time. This is going to take a couple of windows where we can get players who give us stronger depth and stronger quality in depth. Because in a situation like this, we're on the fast break and we have two players on the left side with tremendous speed that can get by Chelsea's defenders. It's just Caicedo tracking back and Andre Santos. So we're in a good position here. From this point on, Dorgu has two options. He has the easy option, which is the option he eventually plays, which is to get the ball out wide to Amad Diallo. Or he has the option to play the ball across to Bruno Fernandes. Now, that option is a little more difficult. And because of Dorgu's profile, I don't blame him for not making this pass because that's just not in his game. He's not the best long-range passer. Hell, he's not even the best crosser. So to expect him to make a pass like this, and I know Bruno was frustrated at the end of it, it's a little bit unrealistic. So he does the right thing. He plays the ball out to Amad Diallo. It's just the quality of the ball that lacks. And there were a couple times in this game where the final quality of the ball just lacked. And I'm going to show you in a couple clips, but it just lacked. It just wasn't cohesive enough. And as the team chemistry builds and the cohesion gets better, I want to see that become better. But these are situations where we can really capitalize and punish teams more often if we just have a little bit more quality. Having depth, quality depth will definitely challenge these players to improve their game, raise their game. But yeah, this is something that needs to improve, especially against not just the big teams, but especially against smaller teams who can be unexpectedly clinical at the worst of times. Now, from a tactical standpoint, there's not really much you can say about the second goal that we scored. But once again, I want to give my flowers to Masraoui, putting in a great ball to the back post, a testing one that really unsettles Chelsea's defense. There's nobody marking Patrick Dorgu in that position. And as Dorgu heads it back, Chelsea do a good job of defending, I think. Reece James tries to clear it. It goes straight up into the air. The only problem with this not even from a United perspective, because we do everything right here. Luke Shaw's aggressive in getting into the ball first and creating this goal for us. But from just a neutral standpoint, from a Chelsea standpoint, how does the keeper let the ball stay in the air for so long without even trying to come and claim it? He just lets it linger in the air, and it basically gives all the Chelsea players ball watching zero opportunity to expect what's about to happen next. Nobody is picking up the run of Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is the only player in the box full of how many players who actually wants to win the ball in the air. Everybody's just ball watching. Everybody's just waiting for it to drop back down. And I keep looking up as if the ball is like coming to me. I don't know why I'm doing that. Just ignore me. But everybody's waiting for it to come back down. And Luke Shaw attacks this. In that scenario, if that was against United, if that was Bindier, I'd be fuming. Because how as a keeper are you not coming to claim that? That's your job. You're supposed to be commanding in your box. And that's something that Chelsea got wrong. But after scoring this goal, great play. We got it right. At this moment, I kind of want to divert and talk about one player in particular, which is Benjamin Sesko. I thought he played well. I thought in moments he looked really good. His off-the-ball movement is really good. His first touch is good. I still think he lacks a bit of composure, not just in the final third, but just all areas of the pitch. Obviously, he helped us get Sanchez sent off with that knockdown into Mbumo. And there were moments in this game where he got into good goal-scoring positions. It was just frustrating that the ball or the final ball just didn't go his way. And this is something I wanted to talk about, and I hope you guys can kind of see where I'm coming from once we get to a specific clip. But here we'll start with a situation, and I'm gonna use this as a way to explain the last clip in the Sesko breakdown. But as Mbumo plays the ball into Ahmad, it's a great run first and foremost by Ahmad to exploit that space that was left. Um, but as you can see here, as I pause the picture, Sesko is making that run right to the edge of the 6-yard box. If Amad Diallo just trusts himself and trusts the fact that Sesko makes good off the ball runs, he plays this ball first time into the box. He plays it first time, there's no question it's a tap in. Even if it takes a deflection, it could end up into the back of the net or give us a better opportunity at goal. Instead, Amad Diallo cuts back in on his left, and this is why I said if Ahmad was playing as a right wing back, there's no chance we're getting those balls into the box that Masraoui delivered. There's just a different mentality for right-footed players on the right-hand side of the pitch versus left-footed players on the right-hand side of the pitch. Amad Diallo is always looking to cut back in on his left, which kind of puts us at a disadvantage sometimes. I really wish he would just put the ball into the box, test the defense, and see what happens from there. In this clip, you can see Sesko is literally screaming for the ball, like, give me the ball. But it's too late. When he cut back in on your left, you completely close off any avenue and angle to get that ball into the box. And Amad Diallo forces himself out of bounds to try and get across into the box. Frustrating. Really, really frustrating. This is a situation where I think Sesko actually does good with his hold-up play. He gets the ball into his chest, he brings it down nicely, and from here, this is what I mean about the composure. The ball gets kind of mixed up in between his feet. He's not able to play the ball through to Amad Diallo. He's only able to play it to his feet. And by that point, Ahmad is already offside because Wesley Fofana had closed down the space. He noticed that Sesko took a bad touch, and Amad Diallo is just offside. So just a bit of chemistry, a bit of cohesion is needed. These players still need to get used to each other. That's why I'm not panicking when it comes to Sesko. He's only been here for how many months? He hasn't even been here for a full year. So he needs to get used to the way that his players play. Now, this clip is what I wanted to talk about because a lot of people on Twitter were talking about how if Amad Diallo just plays the ball first time, it's an easy tap in for Sesko. I don't really think it is. And maybe I'm thinking too much of this, so let me know in the comments what you think. But I feel like Sesko is actually the reason why Amad Diallo doesn't play this ball in first time. Now, it's just a miscommunication, I think. The players aren't playing on the same wavelength. They don't have that telepathic understanding that they will once they play more and understand each other's games. In this situation, it's great from Amad Diallo to win the ball back. And now everybody's saying, here, pass the ball immediately to Sesko. What people don't know is if you move the frame a little bit, just a little bit, Sesko's no longer looking at Amad Diallo. He's not even looking. So that first time ball that could have been played into Sesko probably wasn't the best option at that point because Sesko positions his body and he points to the space where he wants Amad Diallo to play that ball into. And from there, I think that's why Amad Diallo played a hopeful ball instead of a decisive one. Because of that quick, subtle change of body position, the body language. It didn't tell me that Sesko trusted Amad Diallo to play a first-time ball. Based off the clip that I showed you earlier, I think that's the case. He's probably trying to get used to the way that Amad plays. He doesn't realize that in that moment, if he had just maintained his position, Amad probably would have played that first-time ball. But because he doesn't, Amad plays a hopeful one, really into nowhere. He's even trying to play the ball into Sesko. But because the keeper's positioning and the play had just been kind of dead at that point, where he should have played a first-time ball, I think it's just a lack of communication between the two, but this is something that can be fixed. I wanted to note, after that play, just look at the body language of both. Both of them had their heads down. So I think this is something that they need to talk about and work on together, because this can improve. Situations like this can improve. It's that final third decision-making that we need to improve upon as a whole, but Amad Diallo, Sesko, Cunha, and Mbumo, all of them can improve together as a front line, building chemistry and cohesion and understanding. Briefly, I just want to talk about the Casemiro red card or the second yellow leading to the red, just because it didn't need to happen. And while I'm going to solely put the blame on Casemiro because a player of his experience should never be putting himself in that position to get a red card, it actually all starts with Amad Diallo giving the ball away cheaply. This is another situation where mentality trumps any talk of tactics. It trumps any talk of Ruben Amorim and what he's telling the players to do. This is an in-game decision that Amad Diallo should do better with. Why try to play that ball when you're 2-0 up? You have the advantage. You have control of the game. Chelsea were toothless up to this point. Rightly so. We have the numerical advantage, so we should be the aggressor. The simple ball here for Amad Diallo is just to hold it up and play it out to Dorgu. Game management. Simple game management. But instead, he tries a Hollywood pass that actually goes nowhere. That's not in his game. That's not in his game. We saw it against Manchester City. His passing range, trying in a similar position to try and get the ball to Mbuemo. It's just not there. He's not a good passer of the ball long distance. Same with Dorgu. Same with Dorgu. And from here, as Chelsea worked their way up the field, Casemiro gets put into a difficult situation, mind you. It's smart of him to try and win the ball back. What's not smart of him is to get into this position where he's tugging on the player's shirt. That's not smart. Why not just let him go? There's a numerical advantage on our behalf. We still have more players than they do. But for some reason, he doesn't trust it. He tries to win the ball back, but it's too rash. And while I do think the decision is harsh, I mean, come on, Casemiro, you're a 5-time Champions League winner. Come on, you should have better just in-game experience than that. Puts us into a really bad position where now the game is no longer really in our control. It's 10v10 again going into the second half. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in just a bit. The last bit of analysis I guess I want to show you guys is the 57th minute. A lot of people were saying the second half, we completely gave the game away to Chelsea. We didn't play well in the second half. We were getting outdone and outworked. Just false. Absolutely false. It wasn't actually until Chelsea's first and only goal, which, mind you, was their only shot on target in the entire second half. And subsequently from that moment, the 80th minute and on, they were more on the front foot. Obviously, they were chasing the game. I thought we defended superbly the entire game. And I thought Amorim's tactical changes, and I'll talk about that in a bit, were spot on. But in this moment, I guess, that I want to show you, the 57th minute, we still did a great job, 10v10, of bypassing Chelsea's press. Obviously, there's less players on the pitch, so there's more space being afforded. But if that's the case, then use that to your advantage, and that's exactly what we did. Luke Shaw here with the ball at his feet, plays it out to Dorgu. And now there's this huge gap for us to exploit. Good first-time pass from Dorgu into Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, this is the composure that we lack from certain players. Bruno Fernandes, instead of trying to force a ball into Maguire or trying to force the ball straight away into Dorgu, he waits. He waits and assesses his options. And because of that, he's able to play a ball around Fofana, and now Dorgu's in. Maguire does a good job to use his body. And now we're at a situation where we've outnumbered Chelsea. But Dorgu, again, the final ball and the final quality is just so poor that we can't take advantage of the situation. And that's something that needs to improve. It just has to improve. Overall, like I said, I thought we played well today. De Ligt was my man of the match. He was stellar. And since preseason, I have been saying that De Ligt is our best central center back. Well, today he played as a right center back and then eventually went over to the central center back position once Maguire went off. He was immense. I'm going to put up clips now, just various clips of De Ligt. His positioning, so underrated. His start position is so underrated. And then in this game, he's not the quickest, most mobile center back, but he definitely offers something more than Maguire. And the fact that over distance, De Ligt can still run with some of the faster players in the league, use his strength, use his body to shield guys off of the ball. I thought Amorim's second half substitutions were perfect. I thought it made sense taking off Sesko, who didn't really aid much in our press, and bringing out Ugarte, who could be more of that destroyer that we needed in midfield, just breaking plays up. He doesn't have to be this super flashy midfielder who gets the ball. He just has to break the play up. He has to be there, he has to be in the right position and be mobile and be aggressive. And that's exactly what he did. He was pressing high. He was being a nuisance. So it just confused me when people didn't realize what Amorim was trying to do. Just shore up the midfield. Just shore it up. We lost a midfielder. We lost a midfielder, so it only makes sense to bring on another one to stop Chelsea from playing through our midfield. Sesko would not have added much that Mbumo or Cunha, who came on later, would have done. There wasn't much difference, and I feel like that's what a lot of people are missing. When Cunha came on, when Mason Mount came on, we were able to retain the ball just as well as we did before when Sesko was on the pitch. Sure, we weren't winning many headers, but does that matter? We contained them for about 80 minutes. And the only real opportunity they had was from the corner. Reece James was their most dangerous player today. So, let's just look at these substitutions, not just at face value, not just because of who's being brought on, and let's look at it from a tactical standpoint. Amorim wanted to defend well. He wanted to stop and neutralize and nullify Chelsea's attacks, and that's exactly what he did. He forced Chelsea out wide to play it to Reece James constantly. And although Reece James is dangerous, not every single one of his crosses or passes got Chelsea into a position to score. Maybe I'm just looking into it way too much, way too deep, but I really do think United played well here. And this is the type of game, where United can build upon. They can improve upon this performance and say, you know what, we're expected to beat Brentford. Brentford aren't the greatest team in the Premier League. We can take the game to them. As good as Sunderland has been at the start of the season, they're still a newly promoted team. They're going to come and play against us as if we are still, the likes of Liverpool or Arsenal or City. They're going to come and sit back. We're going to have majority of the ball. They're going to try and counter us. So I think this is the type of game, a game where we weren't expected to win, mind you. It's a difficult game against Chelsea, no matter where we're playing. And we came and we showed good fight. We showed good determination. I'm proud of the boys. I'm proud of what they were able to do today. I'm proud of Ruben Amorim for sticking to his guns, for going against the norm, for challenging the norm, because it got him a result. If we had played all the players that everybody wants to play, who knows what would have happened in this game? Who knows if mistakes would have occurred? I'm telling you, it goes a lot more than just tactic. It's mentality. Some of these players are still growing and developing, while a lot of these players are older and experienced. And while their quality might not be the same, that experience is worthwhile. It really is. It really is. I'm not making excuses for certain players, because at the end of the day, their performance on the pitch is what gets us the results. But I think in this game, Ruben Amorim got a lot right. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I won't take too much of your time. Just wanted to share my thoughts with you, as always. Let me know what you thought about the game overall. Let me know what you think about Amorim moving forward. Let me know what you think about certain players and their positions and how they play. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. As always, have a wonderful day. God bless you, and we'll talk soon. Peace.